Hello, welcome to Media Careers Podcast. Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another engaging episode of Media Careers Podcast. My name is Maria, and I'll be your host for the day. Together with me in the studio, we have Ellen Spencer, who is currently working as an Operation Director at WAA Chosen. Hi Ellen.
Hi Maria, nice to meet you.
Welcome to our podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today, even if it's on a Zoom call. This is a great opportunity for us and for our listeners to find out more about your work and experience, and I hope you are as excited as I am. How do you feel?
I feel really excited. I'm very much looking forward to this podcast.
I'm so glad to hear that. I am a bit nervous, so I guess we're just on the same boat right now.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not entirely sure what to expect, but I'm sure we'll find a good way through.
Yes, it should be nice though. So, I think it would be a good idea if we started with getting to know you a little better. Do you mind telling us how old are you, where are you from, and maybe some of your hobbies?
Okay, so sorry, what was the first part of the question? I missed that.
So, we just want to know maybe how old are you and where are you from?
Okay, so I am currently 55. Um, I come from Telford in Shropshire, so born and brought up in the UK. Um, I studied at what's currently known as UWE, which was Bristol Polytechnic at the time, and I studied a business degree with international marketing and French. Um, and then when I'm not at work, I enjoy anything outdoors because normally in the course of the day, I'm either sat in my car or I'm sat at my desk. So I like to do active things when I'm not at work, things that kind of don't test my brain, but maybe test my body a little bit. So I love walking and swimming and cycling and just being out in the fresh air.
That sounds so lovely. And do you mind telling us if you have any kids?
I don't have any children, but I do have a dog.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, now that we know what you are passionate about, we also know something about your work. I think it would be right to assume that most of our listeners would be interested in learning about any of the recent projects that you were part of. And first of all, can you tell us what exactly is your role in the company in VAA?
Okay, so my role, as you said in the introduction, is operations director. So I've now worked at WAA for actually 21 years. So
Mm.
probably almost as many years as some of you guys have been on this planet.
That is impressive.
Um, so I joined the agency as an account manager, working with Jaguar Land Rover. We were delivering communications for the launch of new vehicles. So that was back in the early 2000s. And then in the agency, I very much got involved in new business or bringing new clients into the agency. And over the years, my role evolved so that I'm responsible for overall process within the agency, for quality control, for contracts, for tenders, and for everything HR and people related. So it's quite a wide role, but we're a medium-sized agency currently of 52 people.
You seem like you have a lot of responsibilities. Do you find it hard to keep up with the pace?
Um, Sometimes, yeah, if I'm really honest, yes, I do. But I do love my job, hence that I've been here for so long. There's a lot of variety. It is hard work, I'm not going to lie,
Of course.
but I love it. I enjoy the team that I work with. We've got some really great people here, and I think that's what makes, every challenge and every day enjoyable.
A bit easier, of course. I'd say we could talk a bit about WAA Chosen. So, if I'm not wrong, it's an independent agency that's delivering integrated marketing and communication solutions to national and global brands. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, that's right.
And
So we were established by our chief executive, Andy Wilson, in 1986. So it'll be 36 years ago this year.
is he still the CEO
Um,
right now?
yeah, and he is still in the business. He's
This is
here every
great.
day, and while he might be taking things a little bit easier than he was, he's still very much involved in in the running of the business because he loves it too.
I think that's where all the success is coming from, because behind you have a person who is doing it with all its heart. This is very impressive. Um,
Yes.
if I'm not wrong, is it true that you worked with companies as Pirelli, Birmingham Airport, and Pepsi, and many others? Is that right?
Um, we do work with Pepsi is part of Britvic. And we have done some promotions with Pepsi, but the main brands we work with in Britvic are Tesser, which is actually a 300-year-old French brand, and it's a syrup that probably one of the better known brands is Monin that you may see in the coffee shops, but Tesser is a very similar syrup ingredient that you would add to coffee or to desserts or to spirits to make cocktails.
Mm.
Also within Britvic, we work with London Essence, which is a premium tonic, perhaps a competitor to Fever Tree, which would be one of the perhaps better known tonic brands. And then on the transport side of things, we're not doing so much work with Pirelli at the moment, but we work with Pro Tyre, and Mitchell Deaver, who are a national tyre brand. We also work with the Volkswagen Group with their parts and tyres divisions. And you mentioned Birmingham Airport. It's been a little while since we did some work with Birmingham Airport, but we do work with the M6 toll road. And you'd be quite surprised that how many communication challenges there are for something that might seem very straightforward as a road.
Of course. It's just, I'm wondering, is it easier to work with smaller companies or with bigger and known companies? How do you find it?
I think we prefer to work with the big companies actually, and I think probably two reasons there. One is that they probably provide us with more opportunities to be creative and to have a wider range of communication deliverables that we can create for them. And also, kind of being honest, they probably have slightly deeper pockets. So,
It's very
it
important in
allows
these
us to,
days. True.
yeah, it allows us to do a wider range of activity. And also, actually, with the bigger companies, we are quite often working with some less experienced, more junior people. So it's also an opportunity for us to use our experience to help those people on the career ladder who are in their, who might be in their first graduate job with some of the bigger companies.
This is always great, but I think in any case you'll find challenges. So, as you have probably guessed, what we are trying to do in this particular podcast is kind of to explore the professional side of our domain, which is media and communication. And that is
Mm-hmm.
why we have you here today, and that is also the reason why we want to know you, to get to know you better, and to understand your process of working as a professional. I'm sure that you go through ups and downs, as everybody, and we know that sometimes the lower you get, the harder it is to stand up. But when it happens, how do you deal with it, and what makes you stronger?
Oh, that's a good question. So I kind of wrote down 8 things, which sounds like a lot, but I think this is kind of part of, um, I guess, a little recipe for success and
Ooh,
for kind of dealing with difficult situations or just being focused in kind of what you're trying to achieve.
can we hear
So I'm
it,
just
please?
gonna, so if that's okay, Maria, I'll just talk you through. It's 8 sounds a lot, but I will try and keep it brief, and they are very straightforward.
Yes, please.
Okay, so firstly, I think it's setting goals for yourself, and whether that's in the context of your overall career path where you want to go, or a goal for the day, or a goal for the week, or a goal for a project that you're working on with a client. It's very well documented that if you set a goal and you write it down, that you're much more likely to achieve it than if you don't. Um, Clearly, if you don't set it, you're not going to achieve it. But they don't always have to be, big lifetime goals or big life goals. They can be kind of very simple things that you do on a day-to-day basis, that just kind of help keep you focused. So that's the first one. I think that's the foundation to everything. I think next I've put is be positive. I think it's really, really important to be positive. We all have challenges in life, whether that is in the workplace, or whether you've got something going on in your personal life, or what have you. But if you can try to always stay positive, I think that helps you achieve your goals.
Of course.
The next one is quite similar. I've said be can do. And it sort of does sit alongside positive, but I'm an absolute firm believer that there is always a solution to a problem. There is always a way around it. And, some of my teammates in here used to kind of smile to ourselves when we go and visit a client, and it's kind of our approach is whatever the client asks for, we say yes, because we will find a way to do it. We
This is
might
so
not know when we're
nice.
sitting in the room exactly what we're going to do, but we know that we've got a big team at the office, and between us that we can work out a way and absolutely can do and get that done. And I think sort of, and saying that as well, it's kind of like never being um, sort of taking the whole burden of a problem on your own. It's kind of sharing it with your colleagues and teammates, and making sure that you use the skills and the experiences of everybody around you to kind of solve that problem.
This is so reassuring. This makes you believe that people in the big companies actually care about their clients. And we do know that WAA Chosen is especially known for their ability to collaborate with everybody and just to be there for the peoples and not for the money or for the success. Can you continue,
Yeah.
please?
So I'll carry on through the my other ingredients in my recipe for success is, so also be proactive. Don't necessarily wait to be told to do something. Think, what can I be doing that's going to help the next person, that's going to get me noticed, that's going to surprise and delight my client. You might hear something, on I don't know, on the radio. You might see something in social media and think, oh my God, isn't that brilliant that such and such brand is doing this? I wonder if we could do something similar for one of our clients, and you can kind of recycle or extend that idea and make it work for someone else. So always think about being proactive. um, the next thing I've written down is ask questions. One of the things I say to the new starters here is, like no question too stupid. It's really important to ask questions, um, to clap when you've been asked to do something, to almost play it back to the person who's asking you to do that task, just so you can check your own understanding. And in every walk of life, there are always lots of acronyms, or different sectors have a language of their own that you may not always understand. So never be afraid that if you don't understand something, to ask somebody to clarify that, because the worst thing is to kind of make assumptions and guess. So I think asking questions is really, really, really important. The next thing I would say is take feedback graciously, and actually always seek feedback, because sometimes, if we all want to get better at everything that we do, and we need sometimes to be told that, or what we haven't done, it might not be perfect. Actually, it often isn't. None of us are perfect, but sometimes we could do something a little bit better, or we could add something on to make it even better than it already is. So I would again say, never be afraid to ask for feedback, but don't be don't be too proud, but don't be offended or upset to hear somebody say something that you may not have thought of, but just take it with you and use it in the next the next opportunity that you have.
So would you say that
um,
feedback is very important in order to always strive to your best self?
Absolutely, absolutely. I firmly believe that you kind of make your own way in life, you make your own luck. There is a little bit of luck, good luck or bad luck, that can come your way.
Of course.
But if you kind of do all these things, if you do have a goal that you're aiming for, if you are positive, if you believe you can find a solution, if you asking questions, if you're asking people to give you feedback to make you better, I absolutely believe that you can do whatever you want to do.
It seems like a great recipe, and I think many of our listeners will find it very reassuring, I would say, to know that there are actual steps that you can follow in order to achieve your dreams. And I think, I presume that climbing through this ladder of stress in order to get to your final goal should be really, and it must be really, really hard. But at the same time, you did such a great job for so many years, and you are still doing, which I personally find very inspiring. I was just wondering,
Yeah.
is there, do you think there are like any big challenges that everybody's facing while starting a business or trying to get to where you are right now? Some essential problems that can appear?
um Yeah, I mean, there always are, and I think whether you're starting out in a career in a business, being employed by a business, or whether you're starting your own business, there are lots and lots of challenges. Um, but if you kind of work hard, you always try your best. You do ask for help and feedback. You believe that, as long as you're trying your hardest, I think that's all you can ever do. And the last couple of years have shown us what a resilient, I guess, what a resilient bunch of people we all are, because we've all carried on through COVID. I guess I can't ignore right now what's going on in Ukraine as well, and it's kind of quite hard to believe, that in the 21st century, that what those people are having to deal with. Um, but you listen to them on the news, and there is some terrible, terrible stories. But you kind of hear the fight and the resilience in them, and they don't want to give up. They want to.
Keep on
um,
trying and fighting for what's theirs.
Exactly. And, most of us here are very fortunate not to have been in that kind of such an extreme situation as that. But, that same kind of resilience and will to get on is sort of within everybody in every day of our lives. If you want to succeed and get on in what you're doing.
Certainly. And now that you touched on the COVID subject, do you think that at that time when we were in lockdown, it made you appreciate more the teamwork and miss all your colleagues and how you had this atmosphere in the office?
Yes, it did, but actually for us, we as a business only did the absolute minimum lockdown that we were required to by the government. As soon as the government said you could return to your office, everybody returned to the office. And because we're a creative business and we do the best work if we collaborate all together, we wanted everybody back in the office, and we're fortunate that we've got a big enough space where we could safely socially distance everybody. So we are a business actually that bucked the trend, excuse me, in terms of coming back to the office as soon as we possibly could. And we feel that because we've done that, it has helped us in our commercial success in the last 2 years, and it's actually helped us build better and stronger relationships, not only with our clients but actually together as a team.
This is very rare to hear somebody speaking about lockdown with such a positive perspective. And here
Yeah,
I can feel where you actually put in practice your little recipe and the
yeah.
fact about being positive and just keep going. Because if you think about it, we can just look at the dark sides of the COVID. It did bring some good things. We all had a bit of a relaxing time, let's say. Even if you stayed inside for 2 to 3 months, it still was a time where you
Mm-hmm.
could just recover. So I feel it like it's very important to always look at both sides, but the society is more focused on looking at the dark part of it. It's really impressive how you're trying and you're actually succeeding in seeing all the bright side. I feel like it's very inspiring. Just I I
Thank you.
enjoy it very much.
Thank you.
Do
Thank
you
you.
feel like you'd have any words you'd want to say to students who maybe would like to follow the same career path as you did?
um yeah, I mean, I think it's very tough for young people these days coming out of university. I think, or coming out of any kind of study, not just university. People who take the apprenticeship route is also a good route into business. I think these last 2 years have been very challenging, and they've kind of,
Certainly, yeah.
you haven't had necessarily that fully rounded student experience that you um, may have hoped that you were going to get. Um, but there are a lot of jobs out there right now. Actually, we're finding it really hard to recruit because it's such a candidate market, and we are looking for some junior people who may be graduates, and we're also looking for more experienced people. um, so I think that anybody that is finishing their studies this year is going to actually find it much easier to find a job than they probably have in more recent years.
I think you're right
But
about
I do
this.
think that the it's not only the skills and experience that you've gained while you've been in your studies that's important, but it is that kind of attitudinal side of things, that as an employer that we do look for, because you can always, you can train specific skills and experience that you need, but it's quite hard to train an attitude, because that's something that you kind of develop through your formative years.
This is great to hear. Is there anything you'd like to add more?
Um, I think the one thing written down in my recipe that I didn't actually say was about helping other people. I think that's really important as well. Um, but no, I've really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you very much. And we would be very pleased to welcome some of the students there to come and visit the agency if you want to, and to see what we do, and maybe meet a few people, and have a chat about your future careers and what you're looking for. So um,
I would
I
definitely
can
love
I'll
to.
leave that as an open invitation with you, and maybe was it Lord who
Yes,
um, contacted me in the first instance? Maybe that's something he can pick up with me after today.
that would be great. That's such good news. And the whole conversation was so lovely. I would just like to thank you for being here with us today and for taking the time to answer all of my questions. How hard they were, I hope not too hard. And I hope when we will look back at this day, it will be a pleasant memory, because it definitely is one for me. And I'm so glad that we had you here, and thank you very much for being here.
You're very welcome. I've really enjoyed talking to you too, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you.